Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Ready Up stream. And actually, this is actually going to be a Ready Up podcast stream. This will be a bonus episode, be part of our podcast feed as well as video. With me tonight, we have Cameron.
Hello.
Kieran.
Hi.
Almost said Stuart there. Please cut this out, Verity. And myself, Scott. And we're here to discuss the first day or two of E3. It's been pretty heavy already, to be honest. So far, we've had EA, Tiny Build, Microsoft, Bethesda, Devolver Digital, and Square Enix. But none of us watched Devolver Digital and Tiny Build as a foot. In the background, I'm playing Hyrule Warriors, but for the purpose of the stream, that's just entertainment in the background. I'm really not going to be paying too much attention to it, to be honest. So what matters here is the E3 discussion. So let's get going, because we've got 4 big-ish conferences to discuss. Now, so the first one was EA's Play conference. That was kicking it off, and that was what 7 yesterday, yeah. And they broke out with they broke it open with the Battlefield 5 trailer. What does everybody think of Battlefield 5?
Yeah, it looks really neat. Looks like a nice step over Battlefield 1, which I enjoyed quite a bit. I'm one of these weird people that I'm more interested in the single player than the multiplayer, which as I've grown older, I used to be a huge multiplayer fan, not so much now. So I would have liked to have seen a bit more of the single player stuff, like to say how they built on it, the foundations that were set in Battlefield 1. But yeah, generally speaking, looks pretty solid. And yeah, I just wish they only really gave it like, what, 5 minutes maybe, if that, in terms of like the time slot showing it off. Yeah, what do you guys think?
I honestly don't really care that much about Battlefield.
So with Battlefield,
Never have.
I come from the traditional Battlefield mindset of, yeah, that's a multiplayer series, but some of its best stuff has been single player from what I hear. I mean, Bad Company 1 and 2, those single player campaigns are pretty beloved at this point.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Battlefield Bad Company 2 single player, sort of tongue-in-cheek attitude of it all.
Yeah.
Kind of a shame they didn't go back to Bad Company after having so many sort of mainline entries.
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think there's still ground to do something interesting with the whole War Stories campaign structure. Yeah. So you've not played any recently, have you?
No, I'm kind of out of the loop on them, but I noticed the big thing I noticed while I was tweeting was that they seem to be going for like an emotional like vignette thing, small stories, vignettes.
They pushed that quite a bit in the last one. I think it's called War Stories, where maybe 5 or 6 different mini campaigns, and they're all like, some of them are a bit more light than others, but generally speaking, we're taking this very seriously. And yeah, it kind of backfired a bit occasionally. Like, some of them are just outright ridiculous. There's one with a giant steel armored train, which feels completely out of place with the more sort of gritty campaigns. But I guess you do have some separation there in that they are all miniature campaigns. But yeah, it seems like they're building on that, and it's very serious again, which, you know, is fair enough. But I would have liked a bit of a return to the Bad Company 2, but maybe that was a bit distasteful, especially if you're going to like World War II, I think. Yeah, it's World War II, this one, isn't it?
Sure, yep. I guess that's a sensitive area for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
It's also the first of what I assume will be many Battle Royale announcements. No, not many.
Indeed. Like, so we had an E3 predictions podcast, and please go listen to that. It's a good laugh, even if we probably got some stuff quite wrong. And yeah, that was a consistent theme. That was probably, we were just like, we gave our predictions for like Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo and stuff, and then we were like, actually, wait, no, we're completely wrong. Battle Royale. Just Battle Royale, everything. But it's I don't know, it's not been that bad this year.
There have been like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I think Dying Light 2 has some sort of... Oh no, sorry, Dying Light 1 is getting some sort of Battle Royale mode, but yeah, I'm a complete novice when it comes to Battle Royale. I played like 2 games of I forgot Fortnite. I forgot the name. That's how little.
You're not in our goal squad then, Cam.
No.
Okay.
I've never played PUBG or I watched my brother play H1Z1 for about 5 minutes. It's not my thing, but I can totally see why it is so popular at the moment.
Sure.
Yeah, it's surprising that there haven't been more announcements of Battle Royale, although maybe I've just missed them or forgotten. Yeah.
All right. Before we move on to there was a fair little indie presence at EA, but before we get to that, we should just blanket statement say sports.
Sports was a thing.
Sports was a thing. Anybody have any particular interest in any of these? But it's not really our thing, I'm guessing. But there's sometimes we have a member of the team who's into sports. I want to.
I mean, obviously they wouldn't keep making it if there weren't people interested.
Oh God,
I just don't think
it does killer numbers. But
I just don't think the people that are interested are actually necessarily watching E3 in the first place. So.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you there. It's for that bit's for the investors almost, or for live streaming people, for people watching E3 via live streams who are really heavy into those communities. They played the FIFA card trading thing, and they're trading players, and that is their they might just be a streamer who only does FIFA, which I'm sure is a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was Madden 19, there was NBA Live 19, and there was also FIFA 19.
Yeah.
And those all looked like EA Sports games. That's all.
I thought it was interesting last year because they were really leaning into the campaign, and I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I think it was the basketball one. They brought on Spike Lee to.
Spike Jones would have been good.
Yeah, I would have played that.
I would have played the version of her. Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting because I can't imagine that they would be all that popular, but seemingly this year they've kind of dialed that back a bit, not bringing on sort of auteurs for basketball campaign modes. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I almost picked up the Spike Lee one just to see what it would be like, even though I have no interest in the sport really.
I did see a couple of people the other year talk about that, it was like a proper career movie mode. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting.
But otherwise, I guess the biggest announcement there is tied to Origin Access Premier, which we'll talk about in a second anyway. So, but first, I would like to talk about the indies, because they were my favourite part of the show. I mean, what was everybody's favourite part of the show?
Liked the baseball cap Star Wars guy. Trailer required. Just let's get this random guy in the audience, and he'll hype you up for it. And he did the job. So yeah, I think that was the highlight for me.
Your highlight, Kieran. I'm gonna make a wild guess here and say it was Anthem.
Well, I've been thinking about it a little bit more, and it's not Anthem.
Oh.
To be very, very specific, it was when.
It's when they told you Anthem wasn't a BioWare game, really.
No, it's when Unravel 2 was announced that it was coming out tonight, and there was one guy in the audience that went, "Oh my god!"
That's a great moment. Yeah, they had.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say that was a pretty strong indie presence, for the amount of time they had allocated to other stuff anyway. Unravel 2 got a announcement, demonstration, and the reveal that it's out. It's out, right?
It's out, yeah.
Okay, so and it looked really cute. I put out a tweet saying subtitle Chicken Run, because there seemed to be an obsession about escaping chickens and hens in it or something. But no, it looked I heard a lot of people talk about the first one in positive tones, but not really the gameplay.
Yeah, I didn't like the first one very much because I'm a miserable bastard. But
visually, that
was lovely. Yeah. Just actually playing it, it was really just mundane, and I can't imagine that playing with another player would really fix that. But yeah, no, it's lovely to look at and listen to, but just maybe not for me so much.
All right. What about the other indie title we saw there, Sea of Solitude?
I don't know what the game actually is yet, but the way that the developer talked about it, she seemed very enthusiastic about it. Really, really was really honest, I think, and just sort of really loved this game, and that made me feel good about it. And it's like artistically, it's really gorgeous.
It was
I just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was lovely. I'm a sucker for like simple cartoony styles though, so maybe I'm slightly biased there. But I've done a little bit of indie development and it's hard. So yeah, I'm always amazed when they can pull off lovely styles like that. And not to get into a greater discussion, political discussion or anything, but a lot of more. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are making smaller, intimate games that express how they feel at the moment in reaction to the world.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm wondering if that's kind of because they're talking about the feeling of it's in the title, Sea of Solitude, but they're also talking about the feeling of feeling lonely in this world right now. So I wonder if it's connected to. I think there's a correlation there. I do think
Sure. Yeah.
It was quite jarring to see someone with genuine human emotion at E3.
Nice.
Like seeing her like come close to tears was like, okay, this is in amongst NBA and the guy with the baseball cap. Why not basketball cap? Baseball cap. Yeah, no, it was lovely. It looked really nice.
And the Madden guy.
The Madden guy.
That came immediately after.
Chase the money.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Cool. All right, so they were the nice little surprises, and we are obviously getting more Battlefront, not Battlefield, Battlefront DLC in the form of solo content hitting this week, I think. To go along with the film.
That ties into solo, yeah.
Yeah. And also, more interesting to me was the little sneak announcement. They had the host sit down in the crowd with one of the devs from Respawn, and said, "Hey, we're making a Star Wars game about Jedi's." And I'm like, okay, Respawn and Jedi themed. Like immediately, I was hoping for something like the return of Jedi Knight or, because I was a big fan of Dark Forces 1, Dark Forces 2, which were both LucasArts games, and then, of course, Jedi Knight 2 and Jedi Academy. Whoever's phone that was...
Yeah, sorry, I'm muting it right now.
Me.
I do apologise about that, sorry.
I'll start that sentence again for the sake of me. I was a big fan of Dark Forces 1, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Academy. The last three being developed by Raven. Before they got dissolved, sadly. So yeah, I'm happy to see whatever this is. Did they say when it was set? I think there was some discussion about that.
I think it's between 3 and 4.
Okay.
The Dark Ages or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm surprised they didn't even put a trailer together. I almost like it. It was quite endearing. Just let's go to the audience and this guy will just tell us.
Here are my hopes and dreams for this game.
Yeah.
From the developer, which is always cute.
This must be like 3 or 4 years away yet if they're not even ready to show a trailer. So.
I'm just happy it was announced.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, it's been a while since we've had either FPS or third person proper Star Wars game like that. So Force Unleashed is pretty controversial in some circles, so it's no Jedi Knight in terms of love. Anyway, let's put it that way. Yeah. So yeah, that was cool. Less cool, for getting my hopes up and then destroying them, was Command & Conquer Rivals.
Oh god,
which
that was too long. It just that section was just lasted too long.
Yeah, that was too much. So yeah, that made me a bit sad because the trailer had Kane in it, even if it was a slightly dodgy looking semi CG Kane, but it was Kane. Or was it Yuri? It was either Kane or Yuri. I always get them confused. I know they're from two different offsets of Command & Conquer. Command & Conquer main, I think, is Kane, and Yuri is Red Alert. Anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Is everyone too young for Command & Conquer here?
I played one with J.K. Simmons and Tim Curry, I think.
That is Red Alert 3, and that's
the best one.
It's an FMV masterpiece. Like, gameplay-wise, good, but FMV-wise, masterpiece. And that was Red Alert's thing. Like, right back to Red Alert 1, but also Red Alert 2 as well. was cheesy as hell, awesome live action FMVs, and Tim Curry is just masterful in Red Alert 3, and J.K. Simmons is the president of the United States. That's like the perfect casting.
Oscar-winning actor J.K. Simmons.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, this was before, like, Whiplash.
This was before. Yeah, years before.
Yeah, but like, he's totally just playing J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson style.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I always approve of. But no, Rivals is a mobile game. So that's all I need to say about that.
It looked dreary beyond belief, just miserable.
If you actually go back to my tweet, the Twitter feed, and I like to promo this because I always like to give a shout out to this at every EA Dice related thing. I just used this time. I was like, blah blah blah, Command and Conquer, soulless game. Look, guys, I'm just going to talk about Pinball Dreams on the Amiga now, because that's where Dice got its start, and it's one of the best pinball games ever made. So. I literally just put out a tweet with like a link to a YouTube video of Pinball Dreams, or Fantasies, its sequel. So yeah, Command & Conquer Rivals was disappointing. I generally am pretty upbeat for anything at E3 because I feel like you can't really judge things at this stage. But no, just
they did show like 10 minutes of gameplay for it. I think it's fair to judge it on that.
Yeah. That's why I'm being a bit harsher, and also it just didn't feel like it would ever end. But before we move on to the final game of E3's show, we'll talk briefly about EA Origin Access Premier, which I was super confused about because Origin Access is already a thing, right? You pay a monthly fee and you get access to a subset of the Origin library.
Yes, that's my understanding of it. Yeah.
And then they were like, "Well, here's Origin Access Premier," and I'm like, "What? Do you just get access to everything?" I'm not 100% sure about the details there.
You just get more stuff if you pay a little bit more.
This is like, oh, you're not one of those little silver peasants who only get, like, Titanfall 2 or whatever, like, a game that's been out for a while. It was kind of exciting to hear, like, what was out on it today? I can't remember, God. There was something announced today that was like, I think maybe they were saying that you could, like, get into the beta for Battlefield 5. I'm going to guess that was... I'm going to say that was something that happened.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That sounds about right. It all blurs together at this point. Like, I was thinking of something there and I was like, nope, that was Microsoft's conference. So, let's finish off by talking about Anthem very briefly. I know we mentioned it already, but I have some concerns about Anthem personally. Now...
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be a solid game. And BioWare's definitely gotten better at action games. But when I think BioWare, I think, walls of text or intimate conversations with NPCs or, like, nothing that would really seem to be on show in that. Like, there were some gorgeous environments, don't get me wrong. But it was just a sort of, like, generic multiplayer chatter thing going on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's disappointing, I think. It just looks like I would never be able to tell. None of their personality or as you said, like none of the things that they have established themselves as being like industry leading in are shown here. It's just I mean, everybody's been saying, "Oh, it's going to be like Destiny." It absolutely does seem to be the case that they're just following Destiny.
Some sort of third-person Destiny.
Yeah, third-person Destiny. I could not find it less interesting, honestly, as a premise. That's
super disappointing considering a lot of the Ready Up team, I'm not saying you necessarily, Cameron, but everybody else is really into BioWare. Like, generally speaking, we've always had a really heavy BioWare bias on the team. And that's kind of disappointing. There was no Karth, there was no Garrus, there was no standout characters. What
concerns me as well is that I imagine most of the storytelling will take place in the hub area, which is the first person area that they've shown off a little bit, where you're sort of wandering around talking to people. Like, my concern is that like all the actual story bits will be there, and then the rest of it will just be you gunning through enemies with your 3 other friends or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem to be playing to their strengths at all. Although I guess again, like we won't know until it's fully released. But it just looks so much Yeah, so go ahead.
It's just what what I wanted to interrupt there with was it was also a really strangely paced presentation.
Yeah.
Like they came out and they showed lots of concept art, which I always think is cool, but like gave everybody on Twitter, because I was keeping an eye on Twitter, like big people on Twitter, like people over at Giant Bomb, and like people not just like spitballing for headlines or anything. They were just like, a lot of people thought that it looked really early, and not the game. Like when we actually saw some of the gameplay, it looked good, but the way they paced that at first was, it was like, well, here's 15 minutes of us talking about the game and concept art because we don't really have a lot of game to show you. But then they did show us some game. It was, I don't know, it was like
really strange.
Really strange.
Like there was a point where I turned to the guy I was watching with and I said, like, this must be like a year or two away at least, because they don't seem to be showing anything that we haven't seen.
And then I knew I had it written down somewhere, and I looked it up, and it was confirmed. February 19th.
It's crazy.
19th, 22nd, something like that.
It's the same day as Metro and Days Gone.
Which is one hell of a week.
A very busy day in gaming terms.
Yeah, that's one hell of a week. Yeah, so I was like, me, like Vinny, I think Vinny Caravello over at Giant Bomb, and a couple other people were like, this doesn't look like it's ready for February.
Yeah.
So I can say that I hold out hope that the game will be great because it's BioWare and I love BioWare. But I feel like it's going to be, if anything, it's going to be more of a better game. But it's not going to be the kind of experience I usually want from a BioWare game.
Yeah, I guess they'll probably have a Dragon Age in the works.
Well, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping, and we were all hoping that we'd get like a little.
Yeah, like the good thing about releasing in February is that they can get this out of the way and then move on to Dragon Age. Yeah.
Next E3 will be hopefully all Dragon Age, all Mass
Effect.
Yeah. Although Mass Effect's obviously in a dire position right now because of.
Yeah, that needs, I guess, like a hard reboot now if they want to continue. Because Andromeda 2, that's not going to happen, obviously.
So that's EA. I've been talking for about 21 minutes, so that's about right.
Oh, okay.
So we want to move on now for V's sake. Thank you, V. I want to say just a shout out to V for the stellar editing work she's already done. That E3 predictions audio was like an hour and a half, and she got it down to 35-ish minutes.
Damn, well done, V.
Something like that. She did a good job.
It just shows how much bollocks we all talk if you can cut that much.
Exactly. I'm gonna assume that once V gets that down, what we just talked about, it'll be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just want to make love to aliens and fantasy people. That's all I want from a BioWare game.
I don't think anyone's got a problem with that, Kieran. But yeah, so let's move on to Microsoft, who were. Tiny Build. Tiny Build happened before Microsoft. Half an hour before Microsoft, which was probably the worst idea ever. I
didn't watch it, but I also didn't see any news about it.
It was a 5-minute skit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And it would have been kind of cute if they just left it on YouTube. Like, it wouldn't have been that bad. But because they hyped it up as being a press conference before Microsoft's press conference, it was just this weird thing that happened, and it was a musical. It was just strange, and I maintain it was incredibly like cringeworthy and stuff. But I maintain that you could do a deep, hilarious satire musical about the games industry and game development. But this was not that. This was sort of riding on the tails of Devolver Digital's thing last year.
Right, I was just gonna say, yeah.
It really felt like that from last year. So yeah, not a great look. But they got some, and it was ultimately just to announce Hello Neighbor's multiplayer sequel, I guess? Question mark. It was called Strange Neighbor.
Great.
And we have a history with Hello Neighbor here at Ready Up. Kitty covered the early alphas, and it looked really promising. And then the alphas just got kind of worse and worse, which made no sense whatsoever. So yeah, that was Tiny Build. Then we moved on to Microsoft, which was one of the big three, really. So this was a meaty conference, so I'm going to need you guys to chime in a little here.
This was a good. I usually don't care about the Microsoft one at all because I don't have an Xbox, but I really liked this conference.
That doesn't really matter, Kieran, if you've got a PC.
Right, okay,
Zing.
exactly.
Zing.
I got him.
Yeah, no.
But you're right, like, I could probably get the majority of the games that were on there on my PC, and at which case I now do care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Microsoft's
It's
conference.
kind of a smart thing because they know they sort of flubbed the Xbox One in some ways, like since launch. Yeah, it kind of worked. It kind of worked. So let's just quickly, well, not quickly, but we'll try and go through these as quickly as possible.
Sure.
Halo Infinite.
Don't care. Let's go.
All right, I've cared less about Halo since, let's say, Reach. Reach was kind of the last one that kind of got me in any way.
Well, that was the last Bungie one.
And it was the last Bungie one as well.
Right. Maybe there's a
correlation.
something telling. Something telling there.
Yeah. But it had an interesting trailer. It started out, it was kind of like normal military walking through like the ruins of one of the Halo rings. And then it cut to Master Chief and did the big stinger. Whoa, it's Master Chief. And we're like, yeah, of course it's Master Chief.
Of course it's Master Chief, yeah.
Alright, so not any huge feelings here.
I mean, I've played all the recent ones. I wonder if this is Halo 6 or if this is some sort of spin-off or
it
something
seems
slightly
like it's
different.
Halo 6, but I mean...
I guess that, I mean, just thinking of the name, it suggests sort of something a bit bigger. I'm hoping not. I hope they kind of just. I hope this is just Halo 6 rather than some sort of crazy spin-off that they're really trying on. I think 5 is decent. 4 was fine as well. So I'm happy to see it just being Halo 6.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on because we have so many games.
Yeah.
Metro Exodus. Oh no! Wait, sorry. I jumped a line.
You've skipped.
I've skipped a line. We will get to Metro. Okay, apologies. All right, here is one of my most absolute favorite looking titles of everything we've seen. The Ori sequel, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, or AKA Ori 2, basically. It looked gorgeous. Like it was like I don't know if I've ever seen anyone nail 2.5D that much. Like it while still being polygonal. Like I would say something like Rayman Legends came close, but it was like mostly that's still mostly like got a lot of hand drawn stuff in there. This was, as near as I could tell, this was all polygonal, but it looked so close to being just seamless.
Right now, I have a tab open for Ori 1 on Steam because I'm gonna get it.
Ori 1 is gorgeous as well, but this is just like the next level. They've really upped their game. And so if you don't know what it is, Kieran, it's a Metroidvania basically.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know why I've not got around to playing it.
It's currently half price on Steam.
I know. Yeah, I should get it now, especially. Yeah.
I did notice they did that, which was a cute thing. That looks gorgeous. All in for that. I do need to play the first one as well, although I do believe I think I own it, so I get no excuse.
Sweet.
I'll get right to that. And I love Metroidvanias, so yeah, absolutely no excuse. Here's a big one for many members of Ready Up, especially Stuart, but also Dean and myself. Sekiro, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Shadows Die Twice, which is what we knew it as before, basically. This is the new game from Software. It's probably... unless Sony does something nuts later on tonight, it is what we probably thought Bloodborne 2 was.
Before we actually get into the game, I was like, just as a quick aside, I was so surprised that this was at the Microsoft conference and not the Sony one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Microsoft are going hard on like trying to buy up.
That's a huge thing that happened at this conference was heavy Japanese presence. Like they did that when the 360 launched, but it's really like they kind of lost that battle. They knew, okay, we're not really going to do that well in Japan. But this, no. So Shadows Die Twice is a new game from Software. Oh no, sorry, apologies to V. There's like an ending credit sequence happening to the random map I picked on Hyrule Warriors. Oh no, I'm missing it. I'll watch it later. Anyway, sorry, I'll start that sentence again. So Shadows Die Twice is the new game from Software. It's presumably a Souls game. It looks like the combat's a little bit more dynamic than a usual Souls game, and a very heavy sort of samurai Eastern influence. Which, if anybody's been following Souls-like games in the last year or two, they're like, hang on, wasn't that just Neo?
Neo, yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely see some overlap. But no, it's definitely a From Software game. Despite the more dynamic combat, you can still sort of see the animation priority happening with attacks and things. So yeah, I'm hyped for that. I'm pumped for that. I love all the Souls games. I've been playing since Demons. I am on board for that. So that was one of my highlights of the Microsoft conference. Presumably one of your highlights of the Microsoft conference, Kieran, was Fallout 76.
Yeah, I guess we'll get more into that at the Bethesda section.
Sure.
But that initial trailer was very, very
pretty good.
And it was like, it made me believe that it was an MMO for a split second because of the there's that one shot where the armor is like being overgrown, and then you have multiple people like walking past it. I was like, oh shit. This is an MMO. It's 4 times bigger. It has to be. It's not. But we'll get more into that later.
It's not, but you're close. Yeah, you're not that far off. It's not.
I think I would have preferred an MMO to what it actually is.
Guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Big shout out to SH Gamerbeast who've just given us a follow. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're discussing E3 right now, and we're discussing Microsoft's presser. But yeah, that was the first real proper in-game play footage we saw of Fallout 76, although it still didn't tell us what it was, and for that we had to wait for Bethesda, which we'll get to shortly.
Yeah.
Next up, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which was a lovely surprise. Which was a free game coming from Don't Nod, the Life is Strange people, and everybody on Twitter, including myself, was convinced it was actually Life is Strange Season 2 when we saw it. But I'm happy with the side story that feeds into the universe. It looks kind of adorable, but I'm sure it'll have some sort of horrible, bittersweet ending.
It looks a bit too twee for my taste.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. Well, that is Life is Strange at this point. So
I know I've played them all, and I yeah.
Were you on team?
You're heartless. That's why, Cameron.
Were you on team liked Before the Storm, Cameron?
Sorry, no, I haven't played Before the Storm. I'm talking rubbish. I've just played the first season.
Yeah, okay, so you're the same as me then. Yeah, I haven't played Before the Storm, but someone's opinion at Ready Up who I really trust had a super negative reaction to it.
Oh, really?
So I'm like,
That's interesting because it's a prequel as well. So
yeah.
I guess you'd expect worse reactions if it's messing up what the first season set up.
Exactly.
But one of the best parts about that game was what you could rewind time, and so you could see both immediate outcomes of the option. And you don't get that.
I like the supernatural sci-fi element of Life is Strange, and that's gone in Before the Storm. And I understand it's gone because it's a more emotional journey, but anyway, that looks cool, and it's completely free, and it's out in like a month, so
sweet.
Yeah, awesome. Crackdown 3. We got the news before the conference that had been pushed back to 2019, but
February again.
February, yes. February is going to be busy, but on the plus side, it was an amusing, hypercharged trailer. Like Terry Crews, aka Terry, who loves his yogurt from Brooklyn. Terry really gave it his all to that trailer. So at least it was high energy, and he did make it look better than I like. Not that I thought it was going to be bad or anything, but like they have a lot to making up to do since after Crackdown 2. Crackdown 1 was like the surprise hit that everybody liked surprisingly. Like it was really like everybody got that game for the Halo 3 beta.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And then we're like, hang on, the game here is actually fun. So that looks good. A lot of emphasis on chaos and mayhem, and it
really reminded me of Saints Row 3.
It does have a bit of a it's cross Saints vibe. Yeah, I can see that. All right, on to Metro. Anyone played the Metro series?
I have, yeah. I've played the remasters recently as well.
Okay, so have you got anything to say about Exodus?
It's intriguing. My concern is that most of it is going to be set on the surface, and it looks much brighter. The original games have a really oppressive atmosphere. They're great at sort of creating a sense of like loneliness and just constant fear. But this looks much more action oriented, which is fine because a game of this scale and budget, like you're going to have to tap into people that maybe wouldn't just want a 10-hour campaign of feeling miserable. But like I think some of its personality seems to have gone a little bit, but still looks really good fun. And I have confidence that it will be good. Maybe not as interested as I would have been if they'd kind of stuck to sort of underground, really grimy, nasty stuff.
Yeah, underground Russian Bioshock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what got me on the series in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I'm interested in it as well. Like I have those remastered games on Steam, and they are sitting on my to playlist for a long time.
Oh yeah, they're terrific.
Yeah,
you
like
should
that,
really get to it.
I've heard that, so yeah, definitely get around to that. And Exodus looks like a sort of larger, more open world version. So we'll see if it works. And I know that Dean will definitely be on board for that. So, all right, Kingdom Hearts 3 was a shock for me. I really didn't think it'd be here. I thought it'd be at Sony.
Yeah.
Again, Microsoft just trying to
Microsoft doing business and courting people today. Last this month. So, and it was a meaty trailer as well. We got to see a bit Frozen. We got to see Wreck-It Ralph. We got to see Tangled, the better Frozen.
Have you played all of them?
Or nope, I played none of them.
Okay, I played the first and second one. I've not played any of the side ones.
So I played the beginning of the first one when you're on that island, and I don't think I even got off the island.
I don't blame you.
and I typically speaking, I would say I have a lot of patience for older game design.
Yeah.
Just as a general thing, but anyway, but it's a cool idea. It's a cool idea, and I know the fans who love that series really love that series, and I don't blame them. So that's cool. Like I'm happy for them. But it was a really cool thing to get it at the Microsoft press conference. So good for them, and it'll definitely pull in some fans who maybe weren't thinking about an Xbox One until now. I don't recall. I didn't see the Play Anywhere logo during that. The Play Anywhere logo, for those who aren't aware, basically means, "Hey, this is also coming to Windows 10."
I suppose is that not usually with their exclusives that the push the Play Anywhere thing? This isn't an Xbox One exclusive. I don't think it's coming to PS4 as well.
So, but then we don't know if it's coming to PC specifically. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Though, yes, they usually paired those two together. All right. Unless anybody has anything else to say about Kingdom Hearts, I was happy to see Wreck-It Ralph in there because I like Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, I mean, the only bits I'm interested in are the Disney bits, and I don't know anything about the actual the anime characters. Like,
what's going on now?
What's actually going on?
And for those who don't know about Kingdom Hearts, there's like 7 in between games, and they're all called like Kingdom Hearts 1.8754.
Yeah.
And like that has they really are called like that, and they all have a really complex timeline across like 18 consoles. So, I've lost track of those, but whatever. If you're a big Kingdom Hearts fan, I'm sure that was awesome. All right. Anybody care about the Sea of Thieves stuff?
Not remotely, but let's go anyway.
That's the thing.
We played it on stream, and it was
fun. But
it was fun for a little bit, but then it just didn't. It did not.
I think we saw everything.
The longevity of it.
I think we saw everything in the brief playtime that we used the free trial of the Game Pass for.
Yeah.
So. Oh well.
This looks like This looks like the game. They're just.
Yeah, this looks like the game we should have got before.
Yeah. So maybe when this is out, it will actually feel like like there is more to it than 5 hours of play. Maybe.
I feel like at this point, though, it's too far gone for people to come back to it.
Maybe, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems fun. I played it on my flatmate for maybe an hour or two, and that was about it. We got it with the Game Pass.
So you saw everything.
Well, I'm more or less everything. Yeah. No,
I'm sorry, Rare. I'm sorry.
it is a shame. No. What was I going to say? I think that's about it. Yeah. Look, I mean, all the best to them. Rare's great, obviously. I hope it turns out great. I've heard like No Man's Sky as well, sort of a similar case. I've heard that.
Yeah, it has actually
leaps and bounds.
Yeah,
so.
it has actually come on leaps and bounds. So yeah, maybe they'll do it. Maybe they'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Again, we saw Battlefield 5. Nothing really different there. No reason to repeat ourselves. Forza Horizon 4.
Scotland!
It does have Scotland!
I was actually really
I was
happy
hyped because, and I mentioned this on the Twitter today as well, because I did some side-by-side comparison footage. They nailed Princes Street.
Yeah. It's got the Scots Monument and everything.
It's got the Scot Monument. It's right next to Waverley. It's
got the tram lines.
Yeah, they're all there. That's awesome. As someone who actually, it's rare to see a place in a video game that you're fairly
that you recognise.
Not even just recognise, fairly. I have actually been there and walked along that street.
Sure.
I know that the Getaway did London years ago, but it's great to see Edinburgh in that detail now. Here's the question: if it's going to be some sort of downsized version of the whole of the UK,
it will be. Yeah,
it's just Princes Street, and then maybe the castle tagged.
And that's it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, are we not getting Glasgow? Or are we not getting Ayrshire? Come on, give me some other places in Scotland.
I think it might be the whole of Britain.
The whole of Britain,
but obviously condensed.
Well, that's what they were talking about. But yeah, it's how condensed is the question.
All right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But that looks cool. Also,
actually, you know what? This was the one game that actually made me, for a split second, think, "Oh, I wouldn't mind an Xbox for this." It was this was the one.
And you realized it's on PC.
And then and it's on PC. So sorry, Xbox, I've got a PC. I'm gonna play Forza Horizon 4 on PC. Thank you very much.
There you go. I mean, I'm sure it'll look awesome, at 4K, and they were promising nearly 60 FPS, or at least a 60 FPS mode. I assume that won't be pure 4K.
Right. You have to make compromises, I guess.
Yeah, they'll have to make compromises on the Xbox One X. If you have a powerful enough PC, I'm sure you can pull both off. But it did look pretty good. Alright. The other thing we should mention about Horizon is, in comparison to previous Forza games, was that this one is fully online, and I didn't really catch that in the when I was watching that. I thought it was more instanced than that. But it sounds like it's almost fully online, more Test Drive Unlimited than Forza. So that's cool. All right, we happy few. Gonna be 100% honest, guys. I thought this was already out.
Well, it has been.
Well, it was already out. Yeah, in 4 different forms.
But, even here, I thought it was out on the Xbox. I didn't
all right.
I didn't notice. Looks good. Great trailer. There was a Scottish man who was.
Scotland.
Scotland. He drew our attention, but no, that's all I have to say about that. And we also got an incredibly short. Wow, we're really going through these now. We got an incredibly short. Oh, we have to. There's so many. I'm scrolling up. Incredibly short teaser trailer, stuff coming later in the year to Battlegrounds. PUBG, as it's known.
Sounds good, Fortnite. Let's move on.
I mean, they're different games, Kieran.
They're very different games, yeah, sure.
But you're right. No, that version was a mess before, and I hear it's getting better, so good on them. Anyway, next up, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. Now, don't really know a lot about this specific entry, other than there's a funny thing on Twitter about this, in that Bandai Namco put out a tweet back in 2015 to say, yo, anyone want us to localize any specific games? And someone who's I think they're a popular Twitch streamer now, or YouTube channel, said, yo, can you do Vesperia? And they said, we'll see what we can do. And then 3 years later, they replied to the same tweet thread and said,
whoa,
we did it, guys. Like,
wow.
and so you can go look up that tweet thread, and they actually replied to the same guy and said, "Hey, we've done it." So that's the coolest thing about this for me, is that, you know, it is localizing this specific version of the game for that guy.
That one person.
Is it just for him?
Just for him.
One
No, I'm sure it's for everybody, but
copy of it.
But it was an amusing little side story. Cuphead DLC, which I noticed later after the show is actually literally a DLC. It's the delicious last course.
Yeah.
Very smart.
I finished Cuphead. Did anyone play Cuphead?
Oh my god, you finished it?
I finished Cuphead while I had the flu.
Oh. No, I didn't. I got pretty far in. I didn't finish it though. I got up to.
Where did you get to? You can tell us.
It was after the Queen Bee, but also after the ship.
All right, so third island.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Third island, but not in hell yet.
No.
Okay. No. Cool. That's a great game. It's basically a modern Gunstar Heroes, but yeah, that's a great game. So I'm happy for more DLC. Tunic was a lovely surprise. Tunic was it's basically a Link to the Past or a 2D Zelda, isometric 2D Zelda, but starring an adorable fox. So art style was lovely. It seemed to be Susan's jam. It was also my jam, but I'd assume Susan, it'd make a perfect stream game for Susan.
I really liked the art. It's just sort of. I don't want to say plain because that makes it sound boring, but you know, like
it was simple in a good way.
Yeah.
Dying Light 2. And sorry if I'm just skipping through these. If you have anything to add, Cameron or Kieran, just stop me. But I'm ready to jump on to Dying Light 2 here. Anyone play the first one?
Yeah, I really liked it actually. Again, I didn't finish it because I'm just bad. But I was really pleased to hear, because I don't know why, but I just never expected them to make a Dying Light 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't.
Did you think like Dead Island had kind of Dead Island 2's announcement last year had cannibalized that? Yeah. Yeah,
I felt like not enough people played Dying Light 1, or like it wasn't as well recognized. So yeah.
Like Dead Island was like this weird surprise hit that didn't score particularly super well critically, but lots of people loved, and I'm
because of that one trailer.
I'm kind of in that camp. I got a lot of fun out of Dead Island, but I also got it quite cheap. So I haven't played Dying Light yet, but I watched a friend play the first couple hours, and it seemed like, yeah, that's a cool Dead Island alternative. That seems like a good game, so
sure.
I'm happy for them to be making a sequel. Just Cause 4 has turned up a couple of times by this point, between various conferences and, of course, the Walmart leaks.
Yeah.
So, anyone excited about this? I haven't really played any since 2.
Cameron?
I think we've lost Cameron.
No! Have we? Damn, we have. Well, I did play the third one, and my enjoyment of the third one went from really liking it to really hating it really quickly. Like it was like maybe literally 3 hours from really enjoying it from really hating it.
So it's funny. It's funny you mention that. It's funny you mention that. I know I just keep interrupting everybody. It's funny you mention that though, because it was on a Steam sale the other day for like £1.50.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't. I don't think you're the only one who had some issue with Just Cause 3. Also, I saw the console versions of Just Cause 3, and they were rough. Like the PS4 version runs at like 20 frames a second or something. It's
hello.
Hey,
you're back.
Hello. I wondered. I've been saying witty things.
We wanted. I even left you spaces for you to respond. But
I know. I realised finally when you mentioned that, yeah, Just Cause 3, not a fan at all. That's all I have to say.
As I say, yeah, all I really remember about 3 is that it wasn't as well loved as 2, which got that really awesome mod that became official that added multiplayer. Like that was like a really ambitious undertaking. And And it also ran like garbage on consoles, from my understanding. So
God, yeah, it was so bad. Like the first, like I think it's better now, but like at any time trying to get in the wingsuit or just doing anything that meant you were moving quickly, it was chugging along like less than 20 FPS, like 15 sometimes.
Oh,
pretty bad.
God, no, that's pretty bad. Not seen those frame rates since the day of the PAL N64. When you had to add another 17% slowdown on top of the already pretty slow frame rates. Let's move on. Gears Pop, the worst thing ever. Agreed?
Well, hey now, hey.
Agreed?
I don't know. I want to know how it feels to have been a hardcore Gears fan in
the audience, sure.
Because you've got Gears Pop, you've got Gears Tactics and Gears 5 all one after the other really quickly.
Yeah.
And I just imagine that they would have just been flip-flopping just so much.
Sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I own a Funko Pop, only one. Yeah, I don't. I prefer like I like collecting like.
They're just ugly.
No, they
I
are.
do not get the appeal.
Like occasion, like the one I've got works okay, but it's because it's kind of anthropomorphic. Like anything else doesn't seem to work. But no, generally speaking, I prefer like proper Figma figures or something.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Lego make video games. Why can't Pop? You know, that's my logic.
They're not Lego. That's why. That's why. No, listen. If they do it well, like Dean and someone else in the chat pointed out that we had Rabbids and Mario, and it turned out pretty awesome. So
yeah,
it could be good. I don't know. I'm more interested in Gears Tactics because I like tactics games. I'm a big XCOM fan. I played Final Fantasy Tactics when it originally came out. I'm a big
that's on mobile though.
Yeah, I know. It could be good. It could be good. I'm a big Fire Emblem fan as well. So, all right. What does everybody think of Gears 4? Gears 5. I skipped one.
I've never played a Gears game, so I honestly have no opinion.
You've never played okay.
Are you disappointed in me?
I'm sure that we've talked about Gears of War before, but
must have been someone else. Yeah,
must have been somebody else. Gears 4 was fine. Much like a soft reboot in the style of like Force Awakens, where sort of passing the torch style story. But the problem was that the new characters they introduced were pretty boring. And I'm sort of glad that the Dutch what was his name? G-Day. G-Day? JD. JD. What on earth is going on? DJ. My brain's drilled at my ears. I'm talking about Gears 4. The female character, I remember her vaguely. Hopefully she's a bit more interesting. Probably should have just made Marcus the lead again because everybody likes him. No people that are playing Gears anymore are the diehard fans. So, I don't know. Looks fine.
God, you misogynist. No, I'm joking.
You hate women, Cameron.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Despise them. On a site...
No.
On a site with half the staff being female.
Scott would like to clarify that Cameron's statements are in jest.
Yeah.
And in fact, 2/3 of the editorial team are women. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be fine. I don't know. All I would say about Gears is it never hit me as hard as it hit a lot of other people. Like I really liked that first one, and then it's just sort of trailed off. And the reason when I think of third-person combat games, like that, I think the game that really defined that genre. And I know Gears did the cover thing, but really it was RE4 for me. That was like a full year and a half earlier than Gears, and really kind of changed third-person games. So playing that before Gears kind of lightened my expectations of what Gears should be. But it's cool. It's like a co-op RE4 with the cover from Kill Switch. So. Which is interesting because that's what Cliff Bleszinski was totally just like that. He's just like, look, we took RE4 and Kill Switch and mashed them together. So, you're reasonably excited for that.
Me, yeah. I'll probably play it. Trade it in after 3 days of play, like I do most of these games.
Well, that says a lot. I'm gonna leave the next game on this list for the end of Microsoft.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump ahead.
Sure.
Speaking of jumping ahead. Jumping ahead.
Oh, that one. It's not Battletoads.
Yeah, immediately when this came on, I was like, I recognize Frieza's ship there. Why is Frieza's ship there?
Yeah.
Is that Son Goku? Okay, alright, it's Naruto, Son Goku, and Luffy. Luffy from One Piece. I'm a big fan of Japanese Dragon Balls, so immediately I was just like, oh, okay. So is this a sequel to Jump Superstars from the DS? Maybe.
I imagine so. Yeah.
Jump Superstars is awesome, by the way. It's like this weird Smash Bros esque mashup tag fighter. I don't know how to describe it. Really cool game. So yeah, that looked cool. It was just CG though, so it doesn't really. We don't know what the actual game will be. And the stinger at the end of the trailer was that they also put in Death
Light from Definitely.
Light, yeah.
And I can't remember Willem Dafoe's character. No, let's not talk about. Let's not talk about that one.
For mentioning
let's not talk about that version.
Yeah, let's not talk about that version. Although I will say he's the best bit of that version.
Yeah,
by far, because he just plays the Green Goblin version of himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's cool. I'm happy to see that. Although again, I always maintain that like unless you're getting into like true endgame Western comics, there aren't many properties in terms of power that stand up to Dragon Ball. So especially once you get to endgame Dragon Ball, it's like it gets ridiculous. Like whatever. Battletoads was a nice surprise, and it was also one of the funniest trailers for me because they very clearly made an E3 trailer where they knew it was an E3 trailer, and they just had a second. It was just a blank logo, and then with like the boys are back, and then they just had it literally said listable features in a sort of E3 way. Listable features go here, and I was like, okay, I see what you're doing. So that was a nice surprise. Anybody play Battletoads back in the day? It is quite hard.
Yeah, no. Who's making this one?
I have to assume Rare, but
right.
I mean, I don't know. Microsoft Rare, that would make the most sense.
Yeah, but I have like minimal experience with the original one. What about you, Kieran?
Never played it. I think it's Rare and a different, like an indie studio that are helping out making it.
Do you think it's maybe it's the Killer Instincts folks, or?
Oh yeah. Maybe. That could be cool.
I don't know who handled that originally, but I know that Iron Galaxy now handle the season updates for Killer Instincts.
It's Dilala Studios, and
okay.
Yeah.
For anyone, please cut this out, V. For anyone watching the stream, I am currently playing as Tinkle, and it's borderline terrifying. He uses his balloons to attack people. Alright, I'm happy for new Battletoads. They're basically beat-em-ups that are NES hard. And I quite like them.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I quite like them, but they're not necessarily fantastic games, but they usually have great music, so... they were very clearly supposed to be like a Ninja Turtles epoxy. But ID at Xbox was another thing we got, which was just a huge trailer reel of like indie titles. Honestly, can't remember most of them. I managed to get some of the screenshots in the chaos. So if you check our Twitter feeds, like there was that Henry Halibut game, the adventure game, and I think I saw Wargroove for a second, which I'm still super excited about. But to me, most of this stuff are PC games, so
yeah. Can't wait to play on PC.
Can't wait to play them on PC. Sorry, Microsoft. I don't remember Hyper Universe at all. Does anyone remember Hyper Universe?
Gosh,
no.
It's on
what
this
was
list.
this?
I don't know. It's on this list, but I don't remember it at all.
It might have just.
It's not a real game.
It's not a real game.
All right, we imagine.
Oh shit!
Must have been there. We've imagined it.
Is this a 2D MOBA? Sorry, I'm looking at the trailer right now. It looks like a 2D MOBA, like Awesomenauts.
Oh, I do like Awesomenauts. I didn't play a lot of it, but it had personality, and it had like it made that kind of game tolerable for me. Because I'm so rubbish. I'm
fair.
So awful at MOBA. I'm just so bad at MOBAs. Like I consider myself like competent average at every genre basically, except RTS and MOBAs. I'm terrible at MOBAs. Whereas like I'm like, I would say I'm good-ish at platformers and average at everything else. But when it comes to MOBAs, my god, I'm just terrible. Everyone talks about laning and creeps, and I just like, what? What are you talking? What? Tell me what I'm doing. So yeah, don't know what about that.
Laning sounds dirty.
Listen. These are MOBA tame terms, okay?
They're tame for what? Excuse me.
Oh god, we've gone down a dark path. Something to mention, which turned up frequently, and was kind of cool, was the Xbox Game Pass. It's getting better. It's a pretty cool thing. Like if you are going that way, or if you are. Listen, I'm all in on Microsoft's platform. I've got an Xbox One X, or I want to play other PC games, and I'm not going to keep any of these games. Then it seems good. It's getting better.
It's a pretty good deal to just pay like a standard fee, and then you get access to a lot of games, like even new titles like Sea of Thieves.
Well, that was the big pattern we had for the conference, right? It was like, here's a title, and it's out either today or it's on Xbox Game Pass. Or will be on Xbox Game Pass when it launches, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
For a full price game, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that is really cool. There was also a port of Nier Automata. This exists as a word, by the way, okay? And it's pronounced as a word. It's pronounced automata, but apparently the Nier version of it is pronounced automata.
Automata.
Yeah, which is strange because the actual word is automata. So, anyway, a port of that was announced for the Xbox. Hooray! That's an incredible game.
I want more people to play that game.
Yeah, I played it late, but it crawled its way up to like maybe second or third in my Game of the Year rankings for last year after playing it, and that's against stuff like Zelda and Mario Odyssey. So it's no slouch. Definitely worth playing. It's a good action game, but it's also all about the story. So and it heavily rewards multiple playthroughs. I would go as far as to say you haven't finished it if you haven't played it multiple times.
Yes, I agree. Yes, play it at least 5 times.
Yeah, get to E. Get to E. That's all I can say without spoiling anything. Get to E. All right, last thing to talk about Microsoft, which is good because we're getting this is running long, but
it's running a bit long.
But Bethesda and Square Enix will be short, hopefully. The big one. This was a great end. This is one of the better end of conference stingers.
Mic drop.
I wondered who would do it first, whether it be them or Sony, not who first, but I mean like who would get it. Obviously, Microsoft would do it first because they were before Sony, but Microsoft got it, and it is Cyberpunk 2077, the new game from CD Projekt Red, aka The Witcher folks, and pretty much all the Ready Up team are looking forward to this, as near as I can tell.
Yep. Do you remember the trailer for Prey 2 before it became Arcane's Prey?
Sure, before it was Old Prey 2, yeah.
Old Prey 2.
Yeah.
I so wanted that game to come out just because I don't think we've had like a really good metropolis, like dense, futuristic city with like different. Well, I mean, and it's obviously not the case in Cyberpunk, but aliens and like humans like crammed together, like in Blade Runner. I'm excited for Cyberpunk because of that. Yeah. Because it's what I really want is out of Prey 2. All things.
I mean, I'm right there with you. Like, I'm happy at what Prey 2 became, or Prey became, which was basically a System Shock 2.5. But that original game idea was interesting, and we've had a couple of games touch it, like Shadowhunter Returns and stuff. Revivals of like D&D Cyberpunk games, but not the full massive experience you're talking about.
No.
So yeah, that trailer looked good. It trusted its audience to just enjoy its world. There wasn't actually much gameplay.
No, I'm not sure what the gameplay is even going to be.
But I think they just know that we know they are CD Projekt Red, and we're going to trust them at this point.
I assume most of that was an engine. It certainly looks like it would be.
Yeah, it does look like it's reaching that level, yeah.
I was really impressed by its world. I think it's got like, obviously you're going to invite comparisons to Blade Runner straight away, but like, I think it manages to cut out its own. I was surprised by how bright it is and colourful. I think that's
Yeah, it's
a
more
really neat
colourful
approach.
than like
Yeah, like all the designs of the tech and stuff, and it looks like it's its own beast, which is really like a hard thing to do now, considering how many of these sorts of movies and games we've been getting, especially like recently with the Blade Runner reboot or what is it, sequel. But yeah, no, I think Witcher 3 is in my top 5 games of all time, so I'm very excited. But obviously, going to temper your expectations, regardless of who's making it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it looks as neat as I'd hoped it would, which is great.
Cool. Yeah, definitely a standout from the show. And it was great to see it on stage. All right, I think that's Microsoft pretty thoroughly covered. I apologize, V. Let us move on to Bethesda. We'll just go through these a little bit quicker, I think, because there's really one thing we want to mainly talk about here.
Sure.
But there were some nice surprises. I'm going to go in the order of the games listed here. Obviously, it was leaked weeks ago by, again, was it Walmart Canada? I can't remember.
Walmart Canada, yeah.
Rage 2.
P. Hines was not happy.
That was great. That was pretty cool. It looks more colourful than the first one. It looks more frenetic than the first one. And if Id is at the helm, I don't know who's at the helm. I can't remember. If Id is at least inputting,
it's partly them, part Avalanche.
Sure, that was it, Avalanche. Yeah. If Id are at least giving some input to the feel, then I'm all on board because Doom 2016 was fantastic. So they know how to revive a franchise anyway. So and I know a lot of people. There are a lot of people who actually like Rage quite a lot. So
I really liked the first Rage.
Yeah.
I mean, it had a bad ending, but apart from that, I actually really loved it.
Like I think for a lot of people, it was like an alternative to like say Borderlands.
Sure.
Less loot driven, but more like encounter driven.
Yeah.
So yeah, and plus it had God, I was going to say John Candy. That would be amazing.
John.
Yes, they pulled off
Back from the Dead.
Back from the Dead. No, it had what's his face from Roxanne or Roseanne.
Roxanne.
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Thank you.
Oh, it did have John Goodman.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He was a pretty big part of it. So yeah, looking forward to the sequel. More frenetic, more colourful. Happy if Id are involved specifically. Then we got a whole bunch of like Elder Scrolls side properties. And it was fine. Legends, they were talking about, like, I liked that guy on stage, like that sort of cute, like 18-year-old. Like I was just like,
Scott.
No. No, I don't. No.
You don't swing it that way.
I don't swing that way. But that's what I was going to say. It reminded me of you, Kieran. Like it was just like young.
Was he as cute as Kieran?
Like
was
young,
he cute?
Young, enthusiastic, cared about the property. Like he sort of saved that for me because otherwise it's just like a guy on stage talking about a card game. Yeah, he seemed genuinely pumped for like the new content coming later in the year, and he was like, "And it's coming to the Switch." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll take anything on the Switch at this point." So that's cool. Elder Scrolls Online. I know it's not everybody's favorite game, but it has a fan base, and I played it when it launched, and you have to get through a lot of MMO stuff, but there is a lot of good content in that game.
It's it's surprising to me that it stuck around for as long as it did. I didn't expect it to. I thought it'd like drop off pretty quickly, but it's not. It's got like a really dedicated fan base.
It's got a really dedicated following, and apparently it makes a fair bit of money for ZeniMax, which is all that matters at the end of the day, really.
Sure.
So yeah, the Somerset expansion was shown / teased, although I think that's just launched. But they were
it's already out. Yeah,
it's already out. But they're also talking about the Black Marsh DLC, and some other stuff as well. So that looks good. A lot of content. Big surprise. Not really a surprise. Well, it was a surprise, but I assumed it would happen eventually. Is what I'm saying. Doom Eternal. Basically, Doom 2. Like space 2. Yes, because Doom 2016 sort of technically took place in the Doom timeline. Like it's kind of like hey, here's the Doomslayer. He's been on all these adventures. We don't have to clarify it too much, but it is implied to be the same original Doom Marine, with some of the backstory and stuff. And so, if that was a remake of Doom 1, well, this sounds like a remake of Doom 2. And Doom 2, infamously, his big thing was that it was hell on Earth. And so they used that phrase in the conference when they were talking about Doom Eternal. So I'm gonna assume that happens. Minor spoilers for anyone who hasn't played Doom 1. When you finish the game, it cuts across to the Doom Marine returning home. And he's like, oh, I finally made it home, and there's like a lovely bunny rabbit, like hopping across the screen and stuff. And then it cuts to like the bunny rabbit's carcass torn in half, and
no,
and hell has invaded Earth.
I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, it's only like one screen at the end of Doom 1.
Oh,
it's a post-credit sequence.
Yeah, and it was to set up Doom 2, Hell on Earth.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. So if Doom 2016 was a remake of the original Doom, this might be a remake of Doom 2. I'm thinking, and I'm all on board because Doom 2016. I wrote about it. I mean, I don't know if it was my personal overall game of the year, but I wrote about it as my game of the year for Ready Up, and I think I had a pretty good argument. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to more of that.
Yep.
Quake Champions. My main criticism of Quake Champions was that I felt like the trailer, they turned the gamma up way too high. I don't know if anyone saw that. The lighting seemed really bright, unusually bright for some reason. Otherwise, it looks like a still in development Quake game.
Yeah.
Seems kind of cool, and a bunch of people anybody who's on Humble Bundle monthly, will have a key for it. You got it back in October. But otherwise, yeah, it just seems. And they mentioned they were doing a week where you can play it for free, starting from either yesterday or today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if you play it for free, it stays free.
Oh no, I need to do this.
Yeah, so at least maybe install it, and then you've got it for when it's finished.
Right.
So yeah, looks kind of cool. I played a lot of Q3 Arena back in the day. And Unreal Tour 99 and all that, so I'm up for a classic deathmatch game. Prey Moon Crash was a cute little announcement. It's a sort of, if anyone ever played the rearranged mode in Resident Evil 2, or a DualShock edition, or the N64 version, or is just familiar with how roguelikes work, it's basically a version of Prey where they swap where the item locations are. To randomize the progression, which seems kind of cool. They're also introducing a new Game Plus mode, and yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that's coming out for it.
Yeah, it was a meaty little chunk of free content. I mean, I assume it's free. It sounded free.
It's surprising that they're supporting it so much, considering it's been the one that didn't really capture as much attention.
It's sort of a critics' cult darling. All the critics quite not all the critics, but a lot of prominent sort of personalities in YouTube and stuff tend to actually really like Prey, and the System Shock community is really pushed.
It's a really solid immersive sim. I just kind of the thing with the enemy placements intrigues me because my biggest problem was just the lack of interesting enemies after the first few that you meet. Considering the length of the game as well. So if they can try and alter that and make it a bit more interesting combat-wise, then I'm all for it. Sure. And New Game Plus is interesting as well. So,
Wolfenstein Youngblood seems. I don't know if anybody noticed, but when it came on stage, before it had the Youngblood logo, it had a Wolfenstein logo with three dashes in it.
No, didn't see that.
It was only for a second, and I was like,
so. Is this the third Wolfenstein game then?
Confusingly it's not, but it's the third of this series.
Oh right, yeah, okay. So yeah, there's the Old Blood and whatever series. I forgot about that.
So there's the original id Software series. There's Return to Castle Wolfenstein by Raven Software in 2001, which was really good. Mm-hmm. There is one sort of generic one they made in 2008, 2009 called just Wolfenstein.
I remember that one, yeah. I think that was Raven as well.
And apparently, then there was the proper Wolfenstein, the New Order.
Yeah.
and that took place in an alternate ending of the 2008 or 2009 one, I think. Where everything goes wrong for them, and then that sets up the current stuff where it's like they're trying to take back everything they've lost and stuff. And this one is called Youngblood, and it stars the daughters of BJ Blazkowicz. I can't pronounce it.
Blazkowicz.
And that sounds like a cool idea. It stars the two twin daughters of him, and it's set in 1980s Paris. So that is an interesting setting.
As I was saying, like, because there's New Order, then there's the Old Blood, then there is New Colossus. So I don't think this is going to be a main entry one. I think this is going to be in the vein of the Old Blood. It will be like a 5-hour thing. Especially because, like, the way that, I don't know if you played the New Colossus, the way that ends is it's setting up a direct sequel, which this doesn't seem to be. It's so far in the future. So it would be really strange, and I think it is still strange because we know now that he fails. We know that he fails in the next one. Because this is what's the 80s.
Alternate timelines, man.
I guess, whatever. But it seems to be a really strange decision to set it where they are setting it, considering that we're supposed to be defeating the Nazis. We know now that we don't in the next one. So
before we move on to the main bulk announcement, the main thing we're gonna talk about here. I'm gonna say they teased Elder Scrolls 6. And they just called it Elder Scrolls 6. And based on the footage, we think it might be High Rock. Location-wise, I mean, in Tamriel. There's a lot of rocky terrain, and it was a coast, which indicates High Rock. But a lot of people were hoping before the announcement that it would be elsewhere. The land of the cats. I'm happy that is confirmed as being in development, but they could have not even had that teaser, and I would have guaranteed.
Okay, thank you. I wish I knew they were working on it. We knew we were working on it.
Of course they are.
The game is not going to be out for maybe even 10 years. Don't bother announcing it if it's going to take that long to actually release it.
I have vastly preferred Bethesda's style in recent years, where they announce a Fallout at the conference. And then
it's out that year.
Out that year. Absolutely, I'm with you. It's been kind of disappointing when you get that. So that's coming, and I know that Fran and a couple other people are really excited about it, and I'm sure it'll be awesome. But it's a way off. Don't kill yourself. All right. Before
Starfield. Sorry, very quickly. Starfield.
Starfield was a new.
I'm over space. I don't care about space anymore. So anyway.
Is Mass Effect 3 destroyed it for you?
Not 3, Andromeda.
Okay. No, listen, I love Mass Effect 3, right? But I experienced the original ending 5 minutes. Okay, like I was there when it happened.
Well, the original ending.
The original ending, yes.
Yeah, so did everyone. It was bad, but they patched it.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, I was burned as well. Okay.
Okay. Fair.
But so new Starfield from Bethesda. Insert your Skyrim and space jokes, since Fallout was just Oblivion with guns. Elder Scrolls Blades as well, we should briefly mention. It looks like an ambitious, fairly complete for mobile anyway, mobile Elder Scrolls game. Graphics are pretty good.
Reminded me of Legend of Grimrock.
I can see that. Probably a bit more movement than that, but I can see them, like, here's a grid, you're sort of moving around that. It wouldn't surprise me, especially because of the one-handed mode. It works in portrait and landscape.
I love that. I love how it works in portrait.
That's pretty cool. It also seems like something that would be Fran's jam, Fran, if you're listening. So it seems like something she might stream, because her thing has been mobile streams recently. But let's not kid around here. Let's get on to the main announcement. Actually, they also did a spoof of porting Skyrim to different devices.
Oh yeah,
which was pretty funny. I was like, okay, I get it. You at least you know how ridiculous it is now. Supposedly that the Skyrim on Alexa is like semi-real.
It's actually a thing.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So that's weird. But anyway, no. Let's talk about the real meat and potatoes here. Fallout 76. We waited, and boy did they drag it out. He talks about it, and don't get me wrong, Todd Howard has a presence on stage. He does.
He's a rock star.
He definitely captivated the crowd, but the first 10 minutes of that were him just repeating the same details we've seen and the same trailer we've seen, and I was like, oh god, they're not going to show it, are they? But no, they did. And they went full in and revealed what it was. I was worried they weren't going to tell us actually what it was. It is a semi-MMO survival game.
So like in the same vein as like Ark.
Yes, closer to Ark, forests, etc.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for if they do it right. And a lot of people in the crowd were like,
and Todd was like, "No, it's okay."
Listen, I knew you were going to react this way. Okay, I've thought about this. They seem pretty confident. It looks less janky than Fallout 4 and ESO. Like, ESO is fine now, but
that's part of its charm, though.
I know, but listen, the console versions of, and I mean, you probably put up with it, but the console versions of Fallout 4, especially the PS4 version, was not good at launch. Its frame rate was like all over the flipping place. I might be just spoiled because I played it on PC, but seeing that at 60 and then seeing it on like jump between like here's 30, now it's 15, here's 10, 15. Like, Giant Bomb gave Fallout 4 a star lower on consoles, and I respect them for that because it deserved it. It was objectively a worse version of that, which so anyway, I have some concerns because I think Bethesda get away with this every single time. They release a janky as hell game, and just because you love the IP and we love the world, we let them away with it. And then,
that is a fair,
and then mods fix it. But that's not going to be possible here. I'm guessing. I'm going to guess mods probably don't even work with this game, or if they do, it'll be very, very closely curated. But if they are confident in this and it works, then it could be really awesome.
I'm just reading stuff about it now, and I'm becoming less interested the more I find out.
I'm definitely worried about it.
There are partly no NPCs.
Nope.
Besides robots, you can't play it offline seemingly, because even when you're playing it single player, you will see other people running around. Saying it's 4 times the size makes me not happy. It makes me worried because, like, already at the size of Fallout 4, they were struggling to make it all equally interesting. Making it 4 times that size just means that you're spreading it even thinner than it already is. And it looks like it's leaning far more heavily on the gunplay, which was one of the big concerns about 4, was that there was way too much of it and it wasn't very interesting.
Yeah.
This just seems it just seems a bit dull. Like they're just chasing fads again, and it's not what I want. Or maybe other people are hyped for it, but it just looks, the more I find out, the more I'm like, oh, no.
It could be an interesting sort of meta tug of war going on in that game, but they have said single player is still a possibility, but it really seems like it's not structurally built for that.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
Particularly, sorry, go on.
No, I'm not. That's all I'm saying. We shall see.
I mean, my biggest problem with that, to be entirely honest, right now, I really do not like that genre, the survival genre.
Sure.
I do not enjoy games like Ark and that type of game, because of the loss of progression when you die, the roguelike element. I am so pleased to hear that Fallout 76 you don't lose your stuff when you die. I'm sure it means that there's like no punishment for dying, so you can just like run into battle and get killed. But I don't want to lose, especially in a Fallout game. I do not want all that stuff that I've collected.
Absolutely, I can understand that.
So I'm particularly pleased about that, and that has made me a little bit more interested in playing it, and more willing to play it, I should say.
And it's this year.
And it's this year.
And it's pretty soon. I've got the date on my Twitter. I don't have it here, unfortunately.
I think it's November or late October, I think.
Yeah, it's not too far off. It's not too
November 14th.
No, 14th of November. Yeah, it's on our little releases list here. Okay, cool. Yeah, that looks good. Some concerns, but it looks good. It looks better than I thought. Like when they announced it the other week, I was like, "Oh boy, I'm ready for some sort of like worse than ESO trash fire at this point." But no, they've won back a bit of confidence from me, so I'll give it a go. Speaking of Fallout, very briefly, also mention Fallout Shelter now available on the Switch. Go grab it.
I've already started playing it. It's great.
I've downloaded it, but I haven't started it. All right, we are 13 minutes away from Ubisoft starting.
Okay.
So we've got a bit of a problem here. What we're going to do then is we're just going to very quickly round up Square Enix because there really wasn't too much, and it only just happened.
Maybe we should just go down the list of games and say yes or no to each of them.
All right. No, I like that. Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to say what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to say a cautious yes. I really enjoyed Tomb Raider 2013, but it's not been a Tomb Raider game for a long time. It is not Tomb Raider, it is Uncharted with Lara Croft. And not even Lara Croft, it's some sort of new version of Lara Croft who is...
It's Uncharted spread thin with the most boring characters imaginable.
Wow!
It's a version of Lara Croft who can take inhuman amounts of damage. But having said that, gameplay-wise, I really enjoyed Tomb Raider 2013, but as I say, it's just Uncharted. Final Fantasy 14, Stormblood, Under the Moonlight, so that's just DLC for...
Never played
it. Okay. Realm Reborn is really good. If you like MMOs, it's a really good one. We've talked about Captain Spirit already. Dragon Quest XI.
Yes. Looks cool. Like Dragon Quest. Not played
like Dragon Quest?
PS2. Yeah. I mean, I can't. Oh yeah. Why is this a shocker to you?
Because I never we've known each other for fucking years. How come we've never talked about Dragon Quest?
Because you never asked. I play tons of JRPGs. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You hate JRPGs.
Well, I play them anyway.
No, listen. Okay, like Cameron's game of the year is a game he'll say is okay. All right. All right. Like he plays a lot of games. All right.
Okay. Yes, that's very true.
No, I will potentially pick that up at some point. I was more excited for Dragon Quest Builders 2 popping up because that was a really smart inversion of Minecraft. They took Minecraft and gave it a story, and it was a really cute story. It is this isn't really a spoiler because it's in the first. You can figure it out in the first hour of playing it, but Dragon Quest Builders 1 takes place in like a bad timeline of Dragon Quest 1. And that's so cool. Like, it made me interested in the lore of Dragon Quest 1. So that's why I really like Builders. But yeah, it was a really smart it was a really smart version of Minecraft, really streamlined, full of charm. Like, all the NPCs were really charming. It was Minecraft with more direction. So I am absolutely pumped for a sequel to that. But it wasn't here, so I don't know why I'm talking about it. Babylon's Fall was a new IP that was announced.
I like Platinum. I really like Platinum, so I'm curious about this one.
I'm on board, yes. Platinum are action masters. Apart from working a little bit on Nier, they are also responsible for Bayonetta 1 and 2. So, and Vanquish and Revengeance. They are good at that genre. Octopath Traveler, I played a demo of last year and was thoroughly impressed. So I'm looking forward to the final version. So there is a demo still, possibly on the eShop, maybe. But it looks gorgeous. It's like 1080p pixel art in 2.5D, and the demo was just really good. You fight like a boss, and the boss was like, when you get into battle, he suddenly has a giant, super detailed sprite, and I was like, "Oh man, this is just like Final Fantasy VI." Really good. Just Cause 4, we've already seen again and again. The Quiet Man was an interesting...
I already forgot that this existed.
Well, it at least had an interesting trailer. Like, it started live action, and then it transitioned midway through to CG.
And then went back to live
And
action.
then went back to live action.
I think it's F&V game. That's the only explanation.
I mean, I'm all for terrible.
They're coming back in a big way.
I'm all for terrible FMV games. Like, listen, I'll play some Mad Dog McCree any day. Kingdom Hearts 3. We already saw this at Microsoft, and there was a bit of Final Fantasy 14 cross Monster Hunter, which makes sense. That's a good collaboration.
That's actually quite clever. Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah. All right, that's all of Square Enix. Really, we were all really hoping for some Final Fantasy VII remake news because
I think it might come up at Sony.
I'm hoping that'll be the stinger for Sony because otherwise Sony's going to be mostly Last of Us 2. I'm guessing. So that would be a nice way to end that conference or begin that conference because it's been 3 flipping years since that trifecta of they got on stage and they were like, well, here's a Final Fantasy VII remake and here's Shenmue 3 and here's The Last Guardian. Like, that was a pretty killer triple at the time.
That was a great year, yeah.
But it sort of fizzled out a bit. Like, Last Guardian wasn't everybody's favourite, and Shenmue 3 has been looking a bit bad at times. But we hope we
got all that sweet Kickstarter money.
Got all that sweet Kickstarter money. And Final Fantasy VII's remake had the episodic news, which took a lot of wind out of people's sails. But then we got a little bit of a teaser at the TGS where it started to look really good. So... it'd be lovely to get confirmation of a release date for the first episode, or a big gameplay trailer, or anything really. To be honest, at this point, and that's it. We're done talking. I'm so sorry, V. This went on so long, but I think we've pretty exhaustively covered everything. If anything, we've missed it.
We're just thorough.
If we missed anything, please check out our Twitter, twitter.com/ReadyUp. And in about 5 minutes, I have to go cover Ubisoft, so I'm away. I'm going to throw up the thank you screen. I'm curious whether it'll be like a hilarious PR disaster, as it always is, or they'll just show lots of games, or a combination of both. But anyway, please join us again tomorrow night, where we'll have a roundup of everything that's happened since this roundup. That'll probably be with Susan and Cole. In the meantime, everyone have a lovely week, and go watch Ubisoft if you want madness. I'm sure it'll be madness. Big thank you to Kieran for joining me and Cameron for joining me. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone.